Discover the incredible transformation. Billionaire best man and bride's curvy friend share room. Rosie had spent years building her confidence, one squat and deadlift at a time, yet standing in Jake's luxurious home felt like stepping into a different universe, one where gold trim and marble floors mocked her down-to-earth roots. As Leah's best friend and sole guest in a stranger's world, she could feel the weight of that judgment pressing down with every glance. Yet, amid the chandelier-lit glamour, there was an unexpected spark brewing, a bond she never anticipated forming with the charming best man whose wealth and reputation seemed light years away from hers. Every morning, as dawn painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, they jogged together through the quiet streets of Maplewood. The crisp air filled with laughter softened the lines of their respective worlds. Behind the lavish charm Jake wore like a second skin, Rosie detected a vulnerability that matched her own. In sharing breathless stories of their pasts, his a reality lined with privilege, hers rooted in hard work, something beautiful began to blossom. Rosie sensed the tension building within as the wedding day loomed closer. Leah's excitement was tangible, but so was the whispering doubt sown by a socialite who had taken a quick look at Rosie and decided she was too ordinary, too unpolished to be part of this upscale affair. Each late-night conversation with Jake, each laugh shared over breakfast, left Rosie feeling both empowered and terrified. Her heart raced as warmth filled her chest, the culmination of a connection that was both thrilling and frightening. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With the wedding just days away, whispers filled the air, cutting like knives. Rosie felt the judgment from every side, those curious gazes filled with skepticism. Was she really worthy of standing next to Leah, whose life was about to intertwine with someone like Jake? Desperation clawed at her, as if those critics were exposing her deepest insecurities. Did friendship come with a price that she could no longer afford? Each encounter with Jake ignited something inside her, leaving her questioning everything she knew about herself. For the first time, she felt like she was seen not just as a mother or a trainer, but as someone who mattered. However, that bond was fragile, and as Rosie navigated these layered emotions, she could feel the rift growing thicker. Loyalty to Leah waged war against her budding feelings for Jake. Standing on the precipice of friendship and uncharted territory, Rosie felt torn. Could she really risk losing the one person who had been a steadfast support system? The wedding was more than just a celebration, it was a point of no return. As Rosie drew in a shaky breath, tears stung her eyes, and the reality hit her. In needing to be strong for Leah, she had almost lost her own voice in the process. In a house filled with opulence and grandeur, Rosie felt herself unraveling. Just when she thought clarity was within reach, everything was about to change. A revelation awaited her, one that could either solidify her self-worth or shatter it completely. Would she stand firm in her commitment to friendship, or would she embrace a new path that hinted at true laughter, shared vulnerabilities, and love? Her heart raced as she realized she was about to make a choice that would alter the course of their lives. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky a deep purple, Rosie sat on the plush couch in Jake's living room, running her fingers along the velvet fabric. The warmth of the day was giving way to the coolness of evening, and she felt a chill settle in her bones, both from the air and the whirlwind of emotions inside her. Jake walked into the room, breaking the silence with a bright smile. "Hey! You ready for our final practice run tomorrow?" The mention of the wedding made her stomach twist. Was it really just a mere practice run, or was it a rehearsal for life? She smiled back, but it felt fragile, like a glass figurine ready to shatter at the slightest touch. "Yeah, I'm looking forward to it." Leah's been buzzing with excitement. "Most brides do, huh?" He chuckled, his blue eyes sparkling with genuine warmth. "She's lucky to have you." Rosie's heart expanded at his words, but the nagging doubts rushed back like a wave crashing to shore. Yeah, but, what if I'm not the friend she needs? What if I don't belong? The words tumbled out before she could rein them in. Jake's expression softened. He stepped closer, kneeling beside her, his shoulder brushing against hers. You absolutely belong, Rosie. Leah loves you, and your friendship means everything to her. This fancy world? It doesn't change the bond you two share. Those words hung in the air, heavy and profound, yet they didn't entirely chase away the shadows. Rosie swallowed hard, feeling the tightness in her throat. It's easy to get lost in all of this, she murmured, glancing around the opulence of the house. But I don't want to lose myself or her. What if you just opened your heart? Jake suggested, his voice gentle and encouraging. What if you let yourself experience this without all the filters? You might find something beautiful on the other side. The idea felt both liberating and terrifying, and Rosie hesitated. Just when she thought she'd found her footing, the ground felt unsteady again. And what if that beautiful thing turns out to be a disaster? Then we tackle it together, Jake replied, his sincerity shining through the evening light. You don't have to go through this alone. Her heart raced as he leaned a little closer, the space between them sparking with uncertainty and possibility. Could she let him in? The risk felt monumental, like a leap from the highest diving board into deep waters. Rosie took a deep breath. I just want to be honest about everything. About Leah, about you, about me. Jake's gaze held hers, unwavering. Then let us start with being honest now. What do you think about us? That question hung in the air, raw and electric. Rosie's heart thudded in her chest. She was on the brink, caught between a world she could return to and a new realm of vulnerability and love, waiting just ahead. I think I'm scared, she finally said, her voice a whisper. Scared is good. It means you care, he replied, his thumb brushing lightly across the back of her hand. But don't let that fear keep you from finding something incredible. We're on the edge of something this isn't just a wedding, it's your chance to step into a new version of yourself. Rosie's breath caught in her throat. She had never considered that this moment could be more than just a fleeting encounter, it could mean everything. But could she allow her heart to really take that leap? As their eyes locked, Rosie felt an urgency and undeniable pull towards something she longed for, yet feared to reach out and grasp. What if I choose wrong? She whispered. Jake's gaze deepened, full of promise. You'll never know unless you try. The fragile thread of her resolve began to unravel as the gravity of his words pressed in around her. Rosie could feel life shifting, colliding with the potential for a different kind of love, one that transcended the boundaries of friendship. But she'd have to step into the unknown, into the possibility of heartbreak, joy, and transformation. With her stomach in knots and her heart in turmoil, the next words hung on the brink of her lips, teetering between confession and hesitation. What decision would she make in the face of everything that had led her to this moment? Jake, she began, her voice trembling with the weight of it all. I need to tell you something. The moment stretched thick with possibility, like a tightrope strung between two towering ideas. Rosie looked at Jake, feeling the weight of his presence grounding her, yet urging her to soar. I need to tell you something, she repeated, her voice softer, vulnerable. She could see him leaning in, anticipation shimmering in the air between them. Her heart raced. Each beat echoed the fear and thrill of what could follow. Should she lay bare her feelings now, in this charged moment? I've been thinking a lot about us, she started hesitantly, her voice cracking slightly. And about how much you mean to me. Jake watched her, his eyes intense but kind, as if he could hear the unsaid words hanging behind hers. Tell me, he urged gently, drawing her closer with his presence. I've felt something more than friendship, Rosie stumbled over the words. But I'm scared. Scared of ruining what we have. The honesty surprised even her. In admitting that, a rush of relief washed over her, the tightness in her chest loosening ever so slightly. A smile lit up Jake's face, transforming his expression. "You're not alone in that feeling, Rosie." His voice was low, steadying. "I've been feeling it too. But this situation, the wedding, everything just makes it complicated." Rosie's heart skipped. A flicker of hope ignited. "You mean you want?" he interrupted gently. "I'm not sure what this is yet or how it'll fit into the chaos of Leah's big day. But I want you to know that I'm here. For you. Just, give me a chance." "But it's Leah's moment," Rosie countered, her worries creeping back in. "What if we ruin it by complicating everything?" Jake shook his head, his expression softening. "Leah would want us both to be happy. She wouldn't want you to hide how you feel because of this event. Is that true?" Rosie searched his eyes, feeling her heart swell and ache all at once. The truth in his words called to a part of her that wanted to be free, that craved real connection beyond fear and doubt. "Absolutely. Honesty matters, Rosie. And you deserve to pursue what makes your heart sing even if it's messy." His gaze held hers, an anchor of sincerity. "You being honest is a gift to both of us." Rosie took a deep breath, feeling a warmth spreading through her as she considered the leap she was about to take. A million thoughts filled her mind of friendship, of love, of the fear of losing everything she held dear. But somewhere beneath the chaos was a thread of desire for connection that danced far brighter than any worry. "I want to be brave, Jake," she said finally, the words laced with determination. "I do want to explore this us." Just then, a sudden ruckus erupted from the kitchen, where Leah and her bridesmaids were giggling and preparing for the evening. Rosie's heart dropped, the laughter sounding like a reminder of everything at stake. Would stepping out of her comfort zone create a rift in her relationship with Leah? But the warmth radiating from Jake assured her this was worth the risk. "Let us step out together," Jake encouraged, the corner of his mouth lifting into a teasing smile. "After all, I need my partner in practice." For a moment, Rosie hesitated, conscious of the impending chaos and her possible role in it. But the pull toward Jake was stronger, resolute. "Okay," she finally agreed, feeling lighter as she slid her hand into his. As they joined the lively scene in the kitchen, Rosie couldn't ignore the surge of possibility that lay ahead. But with that thrill came a chilling realization: navigating this newfound connection might be the most challenging journey of all. With laughter and excitement surrounding her, she felt barely a step in, yet everything was shifting. "What if I really can find a way to balance all of this?" Rosie thought, her heart pounding against the rhythms of the busy room. Jake turned to her, a spark of mischief in his eyes. "Ready for the wild ride?" Rosie laughed, the sound echoing over the chaos. "As long as I'm not alone." But a dark thought flickered at the back of her mind: what would happen when Leah found out? The wedding was just around the corner, and revealing her feelings could change everything. As they dove into the now chaotic harmony of bridesmaids and laughter, the struggle of keeping secrets loomed heavy above. Would she have the courage to be honest with Leah before stepping into this new path with Jake? What awaited her just beyond the twinkling lights of this uncertainty? The kitchen buzzed with energy, a whirlwind of laughter and the clattering of dishes as Leah and her bridesmaids floated around, lost in their wedding preparations. Rosie and Jake stood at the edge of the room, hand in hand, feeling like outsiders to the joy unfolding in front of them. Rosie's mind raced. She wondered if the heady thrill of their moment together could withstand the weight of Leah's impending wedding. A flutter of doubt crept in, tugging at her heart. Could she be happy knowing the truth might bring sadness to her best friend? "Let us help them," Jake suggested, breaking the silence that had wrapped around them like a cocoon. "Maybe we can distract Leah for a bit." "Okay." She nodded, forcing a smile. It felt good to act, to pour her energy into helping Leah, but every sound of laughter felt like a reminder of the delicate balance she was trying to maintain. They moved toward the main work area, where Leah was carefully arranging her bouquet. Rosie felt a wave of affection for her friend, adorned in her pre-wedding glow. Yet the blossoming feelings for Jake sat heavily on her chest. Would Leah still be as radiant if she knew? "Hey, lovebirds," Leah teased as she spotted them. "What are you two up to?" "Just enjoying the wedding prep," Jake replied, his charm igniting a spark in the air. "Sure you are." Leah shot them both a knowing look. "Isn't it time you two shared a dance?" Rosie's heart raced again. The suggestion hung in the air, tantalizing yet terrifying. She glanced at Jake, whose face lit up, a playful challenge in his eyes. "I think we could clear some space right here," he suggested, tugging her into the open area among the swirling laughter. As they began to sway, the chaos of the kitchen melted away, leaving just the two of them amidst the warmth of friends and family. Rosie melted into his embrace, but the heightened emotions quickly escalated. Every brush of his hand felt electric. Leah's laughter danced in the background, a reminder of the world they couldn't ignore. "You guys are cute," she called out playfully, either oblivious or unconcerned about their risky territory. Jake leaned closer, his breath warm against her ear. "Just let yourself feel it, Rosie. No distractions." But the truth loomed just out of reach. "I'm trying," she admitted. Each sway stirred a new fear. What if this didn't just change things between her and Leah? What if it caused ripples her heart could never mend? "A dance can bring clarity," Jake whispered, as if sensing her internal battle. Rosie reveled in the closeness, their bodies moving in sync, the world around them blurring. Could she push aside the shadows of doubt for just a moment? Maybe, she mused aloud, but clarity can also bring pain. True. But so can the joy of being real with each other. His fingers intertwined with hers, anchoring her even as they swayed. Just then, one of Leah's bridesmaids tossed a handful of sparkly confetti into the air, showering everyone in a glittering shower of colors. As laughter erupted, Rosie felt the thrill of the moment. The possibilities felt endless, yet her heart twisted in knots. "Do you think we can be honest with Leah?" she suddenly asked, breaking the spell of their dance. "Before everything happens?" Jake's expression turned serious, the lightness dissipated. "If we don't, Rosie, it may only complicate things later." Her breath caught. The thought sent a chill down her spine. Was she ready to risk everything for this beautiful, terrifying connection with Jake? As the music faded, she felt the weight of the moment pressing upon her, realizing something profound: they were on the cusp of a choice that could reshape everything. "Let us talk to her later," she finally said, her voice trembling yet steady with determination. But just as the words left her lips, the kitchen door swung open, and Leah entered the room, her face flushed with excitement. "Surprise! I just got off the phone with the florist." Rosie's heart raced, adrenaline coursing through her. "Here we go," Jake murmured, glancing at her with a mix of apprehension and support. The culmination of their feelings crashed toward a tipping point. How would Leah react to the secrets hidden beneath the surface? Rosie felt the air around them shift, thick with expectation. "Are we ready for this?" she thought, the weight of her decision hanging heavily in the air as Leah's cheerful voice filled the room, drawing them back into the circle. In that moment, Rosie both dreaded and yearned for what was next. Would honesty lead to connection or chaos? Leah continued chatting, tossing her hair back and gesturing animatedly. She was completely unaware of the storm brewing beneath Rosie's calm exterior. "Can you believe I almost forgot the cake tasting? They picked up the samples today, so I hope you're ready to indulge." Rosie nodded, forcing a smile while her mind raced. She exchanged a glance with Jake, whose slightly raised brow reflected his concern. The room felt like it was spinning, laughter mingling with tension. Leah flitted around the kitchen, organizing the chaos and inviting everyone to taste the latest cake creation. Yet, as she moved, Rosie felt as if the distance between them widened. The fear of losing her best friend began to wrap around her like a heavy cloak, suffocating the joy she wanted to feel. "Do you want to help me carry these plates?" Leah called, her voice bright and cheerful. "Sure," Rosie said, almost too quickly, as she dropped Jake's hand and hurried to Leah's side. She desperately needed to focus, to dive into the preparations instead of the turmoil inside her heart. "Can you imagine how incredible this day is going to be?" Leah said, looking ahead, her eyes sparkling with dreams. "And to know so many people are coming together to celebrate love, it makes everything worthwhile." Rosie struggled to meet Leah's gaze, biting her lip to hold back the truth from spilling out. With every word Leah spoke, the weight of the unconfessed feelings pressed heavier on Rosie's conscience. "Yeah, it's amazing," Rosie managed, her voice wavering. "You deserve all this happiness." But the sincerity felt hollow. The deeper she sank into the role of the supportive best friend, the more the doubts clawed at her. "Let's get this display just right," Leah said, oblivious to Rosie's inner battle. But her enthusiasm began to influence Rosie, in small bursts of excitement that fluttered through her heart. She caught a glimpse of Jake at the counter, playfully tossing confetti into the air with another bridesmaid. He shared his contagious grin, and for a moment, Rosie felt the lightness invading her heaviness. They were having fun, amidst the chaos of life and love. But as Rosie adjusted another plate in front of Leah, readying for the cake reveal, Leah turned to her. "You're not just my best friend, Rosie. You're my sister. Always there for me, and I love you for that." The warmth in Leah's voice wrapped around Rosie, eliciting a surge of guilt. "Thanks, Leah," she whispered, suddenly feeling torn. Did being honest mean risking that sisterhood? The very thought sent chills down her spine. Jake caught her gaze again, this time with a kind of reassurance. The corners of his mouth lifted slightly, urging her to stay present. "Okay, everyone." Leah clapped her hands, gathering attention. "Are we ready for the cake?" "Ready." The room chorused back, spirits high. Rosie could almost taste the sweet frosting. She would soon encounter a welcome distraction from the turmoil brewing within her. As Leah walked to the counter, Rosie took Jake's hand once more, squeezing it tight. His warmth bolstered her strength, filling her with the courage to stay true to her own feelings, even as the moment of truth loomed near. Leah lifted the cake domes, revealing a beautifully crafted confection. But as she turned to celebrate with everyone, Rosie felt a stirring within her. In that moment, amidst the laughter and the cake, she found herself caught between two worlds. Would her honesty push her closer to Jake, or shatter the bond she held so dear with Leah? The instant stretched, the music faded out, and in that singular focus, Rosie made a vow to herself. She would face whatever came next. Her eyes flickered toward Leah, whose expression was pure joy. Could she bear to take the leap? Just then, the door swung open again, and in stepped a figure from Rosie's past, a person she never expected to see. "Hello, everyone. Did someone say cake?" Her heart plummeted at the sight. How had they come back now, at this pivotal moment? As apprehension clawed at her throat, Rosie sensed another layer of complexity being added to the already tangled web of feelings. What now? She thought, dread washing over her as every eye in the room turned toward the newcomer. Would her hidden truths finally unravel, or would this lead to an unexpected twist in the story? Rosie felt the air shrink around her. It wasn't just the sudden entrance of her past that shocked her, it was the way every joyful face in the kitchen froze like a still photograph. Leah's bright smile faded, eyes widening in confusion and a hint of concern. Who's that?" Leah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Just someone I knew a long time ago," Rosie stammered, the words tasting bitter on her tongue. She felt Jake's hand squeeze hers tighter, grounding her as the memory of the person standing at the door flooded back. Sophie, her childhood friend, the one who had moved away and cut ties without explanation. This unassuming figure had been a constant in Rosie's younger days until she wasn't. "Is that really you, Rosie?" Sophie's voice bounced off the walls, bringing with it a wave of nostalgia that Rosie wasn't sure she was ready to catch. "I can't believe how much you've changed." The last thing Rosie wanted during what was supposed to be a celebratory cake tasting was a trip down memory lane that she hadn't intended to unravel. The room buzzed with whispers and the soft clinking of plates, creating a backdrop to her swirling emotions. "Leah, I think we need a moment," Rosie said, her voice strained. She managed a quick glance at Jake, hoping for support. He offered a small nod, his eyes filled with understanding. "Sure, Rosie. Do what you need to do," Leah said, her voice soothing. But Rosie knew that even as she stepped toward Sophie, she was ripping the bandage off a wound she believed was healed. "Why now?" Rosie's heart raced, fierce with questions. "You just disappeared. I thought you were gone for good." Sophie took a step forward, her eyes full of regret. "I know. I should have reached out. Life got complicated." Rosie's breath hitched. Memories one after another flickered like a movie reel, playdates, secrets shared, laughter. Sophie had been like a sister, they promised they'd always be friends. But life had intervened, pulling them apart in ways no one could predict. "Why are you here?" Rosie asked, her voice trembling despite her effort to sound composed. "I came back for a wedding. I didn't know you were part of this one. I thought we could catch up." There was hopeful yearning in Sophie's tone, the kind that made Rosie's guarded heart waver. Behind them, Leah attempted to rally the wedding party back to cake tasting, but the joyful spirit had dimmed, replaced by swirling curiosity and simmering emotions. Sophie's presence was overwhelming, pulling Rosie into a past that she had brushed aside yet could not entirely erase. "I don't know if I'm ready for this," Rosie confessed, her walls beginning to crack. "You don't have to be. But I missed you, Rosie. I missed us." Rosie's heartbeat was a drum pounding in her ears. She wanted to feel indifferent, to remember the hurt Sophie had caused by disappearing, but all she could think of were the good times. In that space, the warm, sweet aroma of cake seemed far away, replaced by an emptiness where clarity should have occupied. How could she reconcile the joy of Leah's wedding with this gaping hole in her former life? As the chatter of guests faded into a dull murmur, Rosie felt the weight of decisions press on her between old friendships and new feelings, love and loyalty. Could she open her heart again to someone who had left without warning? Looking over at Jake, she found an anchor in his steady gaze. Would he still be there if letting Sophie back in meant redefining her entire world? "Rosie?" Sophie's voice was tentative, pulling her back. Brief moment of clarity. With a heavy heart, Rosie realized that she may have to confront the pieces of her life she thought were long finished. "Can we talk?" She breathed out, determined but scared. Just as the anticipation curled in the air, laughter erupted from the gathered guests again, but it sounded distant, almost mocking. Would this conversation lead to healing or trouble? Rosie braced herself for the outcome, feeling as if she stood on the edge of a cliff, waiting to see what awaited her in the jump. Rosie took a deep breath, her chest tightening as she stepped away from the familiar chaos of the kitchen. She could barely hear the joyous clamor surrounding Leah's wedding. All that buzz felt like it was happening far away, behind a thick glass panel. In that moment, everything shifted around her, and she stood face to face with a ghost from her past. Sophie's eyes glimmered with a mix of hope and vulnerability, and Rosie couldn't shake the feeling that they were both searching for something in each other, something lost and perhaps still salvageable. "Let us step outside," Rosie suggested, finding courage in the decision to confront her past head-on. Sophie nodded, and they slipped through the back door, leaving the commotion behind. The air outside was cool and refreshing, enveloping Rosie like a calm blanket. Bright colors of the garden sparkled under the sun, but even the lovely scenery couldn't soothe the unrest boiling inside her. "I really missed you," Sophie began, her voice trembling as raspy regret crept in. I know it's been so long. I can't believe we're here, like this. I never meant to hurt you. Rosie crossed her arms, trying to shield herself from the flood of memories that crashed against her. You didn't just disappear, Sophie. You left like I didn't matter anymore. The words stung as they fell from her lips, heavier than she'd intended. But they were true. Their laughter and secrets lived in a distant past now, left behind when Sophie had turned her back. I know, Sophie said, taking a step closer. I felt trapped in the life I had. My family issues, it took a toll on everything, and I thought leaving was the best choice. So, you just decided to ghost me? Rosie replied, bitterness seeping into her voice. What happened to Sisters for Life? Tears swelled in Sophie's eyes as she visibly shrank under Rosie's barrage. I was scared. I thought if I stayed, would bring you down too. You were always the stronger one. I didn't know how to be there anymore. In that moment, Rosie's heart softened just a fraction. She could see the pain in Sophie's eyes. Times had been tough, maybe tougher than she could understand. But the years apart had carved deep wounds, and this was no easy fix. I understand how hard life can get, Rosie murmured, her voice barely a whisper now. But I'm not sure we can just pick up where we left off. Sophie nodded, the acknowledgement settling between them like a fragile truce. I'm not asking you to forgive me right away. I just want the chance to explain, to show you that I've changed. Carefully, Rosie considered her words, contemplating the feelings rising inside her. She could choose to shut this door again, or she could peek through the crack and see what could be. Do you still remember the summer we spent at the lake? Sophie asked, her voice softening. The memories resided in a limbo of bittersweet light, their laughter echoing in the air, echoes of carefree days spent swimming and stargazing. It tugged at Rosie, pulling her toward something she thought she'd buried. Yeah, I do, Rosie replied hesitantly, warmth creeping into her chest. Let us make new memories, Rosie. Sophie's words fell like a soft promise between them. I want to be that friend again. No more running away. Just as Rosie opened her mouth to respond, the raucous laughter from inside spilled out again, cutting through the moment like a knife. She felt the tug of war in her heart reacquaint her with the hope she had all but abandoned. But was it really safe to welcome Sophie back? Could their broken friendship mend, or would it just open old wounds? Jake's worried gaze caught her off to the side, and Rosie felt her resolve waver. As she looked at Sophie, her childhood friend standing red-eyed yet defiant, Rosie knew her response could change everything. What if the leap from this cliff led to something beautiful instead of a fall? Maybe, we can take it one step at a time, Rosie replied slowly, her voice a mix of caution and possibility. As a smile flickered on Sophie's face, Rosie fought the whirlwind of what lay ahead. Would they find healing together, or would reopening old scars invite destruction? In that moment, as uncertainty clung thick in the air, Rosie couldn't shake the feeling that whatever happened next would be a defining choice, one that could either redeem their broken past or shatter it beyond repair. Can you truly promise me you won't disappear again? Rosie asked, her heart pounding with hope and fear. And as Sophie opened her mouth to answer, the world around them faded, leaving only the weight of their shared history and the questions that loomed ahead. Sophie hesitated at Rosie's urgent question, her eyes searching for the right words. Time felt suspended, almost as if the garden around them was holding its breath, waiting for an answer that could change everything. Only if you let me, Sophie finally said, her voice steady, dripping with sincerity. I know it's going to take time, but I need you to trust me again. I don't want to run anymore, I want to fight for us. A flicker of hope ignited inside Rosie. It was fragile, like the first light of dawn breaking through a long night. But before she could dive deeper into that warmth, a loud cheer erupted from inside the house. Leah's friends were toasting, their laughter bubbling over like champagne fizz. Each joyous ringing laugh pulled Rosie back toward the house, toward the stark contrast of heartbreak outside and merriment inside. "Let us join them," Rosie suggested, forcing a smile that felt more like armor than joy. It was instinctive, she didn't want to show Sophie how torn she truly felt. Success and happiness had always surrounded Leah, wouldn't it feel wrong to sully that with old wounds? Sophie's eyebrows knitted together, concern tugging at her lips. "Are you sure? I don't want to put you in an awkward position, there's no need for that." Rosie cut in before she could overthink. "If we're going to fix this, we've got to start somewhere. And for now, that place is amidst the crowd." She gestured back toward the opening where the music swelled. Rosie took the lead, and they walked side by side, hearts racing in unison. Each step felt like a delicate dance oscillating between fear and anticipation, nostalgia and hope, while echoes of their shared past lingered in her ears. As they re-entered the lively atmosphere, Rosie was struck by the vivid colors of the decorations, the laughter of friends, and the carefree spirit that filled the air. But instead of the usual comfort of such a scene, it felt jarring in contrast to the heavy confessions shared moments before. She scanned the crowd, her gaze landing on Jake. He was standing off to the side, eyebrows knitted with a protective frown as he watched her closely. "Hey there." Leah beamed at them, her dress glowing in the soft lights. "You guys made it. We were worried about you." "It was nice talking," Rosie replied, forcing the words to flow smoothly. Her heart still drummed a wild rhythm beneath her skin. Sophie slipped into the background without losing her smile, the tension easing slightly as Rosie rejoined Leah and the others. Conversation bled into laughter as they toasted to love and friendship, and Rosie couldn't help but notice the flurry of joy around her. But despite the laughter, something in Rosie's heart still weighed heavy. The risk of letting Sophie back in gnawed at her, a quiet reminder that trust, once lost, was painstakingly hard to regain. Noticing Leah's excitement, Rosie resolved to put thoughts of the past aside for now. "I'm so glad you're happy, Leah," she said sincerely, lifting her glass to toast to her friend. As toasts flew around the room, Sophie's gaze caught Rosie's again, a silent question hanging in the air between them. Would they truly navigate this new chapter, the one they had just started? In the back of her mind, Rosie grappled with lingering uncertainty. Could she really open her heart again? The laughter, the music, the swirling colors of the celebration felt like a beautiful distraction, but at what cost? Suddenly, the lights dimmed and everyone turned towards the makeshift dance floor. Leah, radiant in her wedding gown, beckoned everyone to join her. As the beat dropped, Rosie's heart swelled at the sight of her friends so blissful. Sophie reached out to her, a friendly gesture wrapped in familiar warmth. "Come on, let us dance." As they moved to the rhythm, Rosie found herself lost in the moment, forgetting for a second the emotions swirling behind her. But just then, a sharp sound like glass shattering cut through the music, and Rosie froze. All laughter ceased, whispers filled the air, and in that moment of chaos, an unmistakable tension filled the room. What had just happened? The perfect evening took an unexpected turn, shaking the fragile truce between Rosie and Sophie, and leaving Rosie questioning what else could possibly unravel this night. Rosie's heart raced as her eyes darted to the center of the commotion. The source of the noise was quickly becoming clear. A shattered vase lay sprawled on the dance floor, its remnants gleaming like jagged glass in the soft light, just as the laughter had been crushed under that unexpected crack. "Oh no!" Leah gasped, rushing towards the shards. "It was my grandmother's." A wave of guilt washed over Rosie. She had been so wrapped in her own thoughts that she hadn't even noticed Leah's delicate decor. The mood of the evening shifted with the delicate porcelain. Laughter turned to concerned whispers, and glances shifted from the radiant bride to the broken pieces at her feet. "I'll help," Rosie called out, instinctively moving forward, drawn by urgency and affection for her friend. But before she could reach Leah, Sophie's hand found her wrist, stopping her. "Let us give them space," Sophie murmured, her voice low. Rosie felt a rush of both gratitude and frustration. She wanted to help, but Sophie's presence was steady and grounding. Leah's voice rang out, distraught, "It's just a piece, right? We can replace it." But the tremor in her voice betrayed her struggle with loss. The room shifted, the cheerful buzz replaced by a heavy cloud of silence. People began to mumble sympathetic words, their eyes flitting uncertainly between the bride and the shattered vase. Everywhere Rosie looked, she saw the mix of sorrow and anger settling like a fog. She turned to Sophie, their earlier moment of connection lost in the tide of chaos. "I should have been looking," Rosie murmured, her sense of self-reproach rising. "I was so caught up and now no one blames you, Rosie," Sophie replied, her tone soft, leaning closer with a reassuring presence. Rosie wanted to lean into that comfort, to let Sophie ease the crushing weight in her chest, but she held back, fearing what vulnerability might expose. "Let us just breathe for a moment," Sophie suggested, glancing around as if to assess the rising tension in the room. "Once Leah calms down, we can talk." As they stood together, the crowd slowly coalesced. Apologies were whispered, and the broken pieces were swept away, leaving a glimmering silence where joy had once danced. Finally, Leah straightened, brushing her hand across her dress, eyes glistening with an unshed tear. "It's okay," she announced, summoning a smile albeit a fragile one. "I'm just glad everyone is here to celebrate with me." The guests returned to their chatter, but Rosie caught the glance exchanged between Leah and Sophie. A moment of understanding, a promise hovering in the air. Sophie's hand still lingered on Rosie's, its warmth feeling less like pressure now, more like a renewed promise. As the dance floor resumed with music, Rosie felt a flicker of determination. She wanted to savor the lightness that a celebration could bring, even if it felt tainted by past hurt. She took a deep breath and gathered her courage. "Let us dance, Sophie," she said, her voice ringing with newfound constancy. Sophie blinked in surprise, her features softening, and as they swayed together amidst the flickering lights, Rosie felt a surge of clarity. The journey before them seemed daunting, but resisting it felt more painful. With each beat, each sway, she let the swirling colors and laughter weave their magic anew. But just as the music crescendoed, a voice pierced the merriment from the far side of the room. Jake, arms crossed, his expression unreadable, called out sternly, "Rosie, can we talk?" Rosie's heart plummeted. The weight of past choices hung heavier than ever, and for a moment, she stood paralyzed between the echoes of old grievances and the hope that shone bright beside her. Would addressing Jake's shadow from the past disrupt the fragile peace she sought to build with Sophie? As the crowd swirled around her, that one question took center stage: what would Jake reveal that could change everything? Rosie's heart raced, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. Jake stood with his arms crossed, his expression a mix of concern and determination. Above the laughter and chatter of the wedding, his serious tone cut through like a sharp knife. She turned to Sophie, her breath hitching, a silent plea for strength beyond the chaos they had just navigated. "I'll be right back," Rosie said, though doubt loomed heavy over her words. She felt the warmth of Sophie's hand slip away and stepped into the crowd, moving toward Jake. Each step felt like a mile, a lifetime away from the comfort of connection. With every echoing heartbeat, she couldn't shake the feeling that this moment could shift the balance of her world again. "What's wrong?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady despite the anxious flutter in her chest. Jake's gaze held hers, unwavering. "I think we need to talk about us. About everything that's going on." His words tumbled out with urgency, piercing the warm veil of celebration hanging over them. Rosie swallowed hard, the laughter from the party faded into the backdrop, leaving a bubble of tension hovering between them. "Now? With everything happening? It matters. You matter to me, Rosie," Jake pressed, and in that moment, the sincerity in his voice made her heart swell. It was a tether pulling her back to their fragile bond, one that had blossomed among the chaos of the wedding. Yet, standing on the precipice of their connection, doubt still clawed at her mind. I want to know where we stand. Rosie took a breath, grounding herself. I care about you too, but everything feels complicated now with Leah and Sophie. Jake ran a hand through his hair, exuding frustration. Are you really going to prioritize keeping secrets over pursuing something real? His words hit her brutal yet truthful. Did she want to face the world head-on, letting her feelings burst free, or would she linger in uncertainty, risking everything? She had spent too long hiding within walls of fear, and Jake's challenge ignited something deep inside. I don't want to hide who I am, she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. But I'm afraid of what it could mean. I don't want to hurt Leah. She means everything to me. There's a difference between loyalty and hiding. You can be honest with her while still caring about your own happiness. Jake's eyes searched hers, and she caught a glimpse of the understanding that moved between them. Rosie dropped her gaze, pondering his words. Honesty. Could it truly pave the way to reconnection with Leah? She could already sense Gil's warmth melt into acceptance with every breath she took. The memories of laughter flooded her mind, pulling her into a softer place. Could she choose happiness without losing herself? Just then, the memories of the past, her youthful friendship with Sophie, echoed in her thoughts, bouncing around the walls of her heart. Each memory filled her with hope and dread. I need to be brave to figure this out, Rosie murmured more to herself than Jake. He stepped closer. You've got this. But you have to be honest first. Not just with Leah or Sophie, but with yourself. Those words pierced through the haze surrounding her, illuminating a flourishing realization. Could the sincerity of the moment guide her, bridging the gaps between their intertwined lives? Rosie looked up, meeting Jake's gaze. You're right, she said, feel the trembling of her lips as she formulated her thoughts. I can't let fear determine my place in either of those friendships. It's time to embrace the messy reality. A smile broke through Jake's confusion, and in that moment, Rosie felt the freedom blooming within her. I choose to be honest, she declared, feeling a rush of confidence. Let us tackle this together, he replied, granting her the courage to step fully into the present and take control of her narrative. Hand in hand, they moved back toward the gathering, the sweet scent of cake and flowers mixing in the air. Rosie's heart steadied as she reached for the clarity shining bright before her, a willingness to confront all that needed addressing. Standing in front of Leah, Rosie took a breath, her voice steady and unwavering. Leah, can we talk? She felt Jake's encouragement behind her, reinforcing her strength. As Leah turned to her, confusion knitting her brows, Rosie felt the weight of possibility spinning through the air, a promise for something extraordinary. Would this leap into vulnerability illuminate their paths beyond the secrets and fears? Sure. You okay? Leah asked, concern coloring her voice. I am, Rosie replied softly. But it's time for me to be honest about something important. Leah nodded, anticipation edging her smile. Okay, let us hear it. Rosie took a deep breath, drawing strength from the moment. It's about me and Jake, and everything that's been happening. As the words flowed, enveloping each truth and hesitation she had felt toward her friend and the relationships in her life, the air shimmered with electric anticipation. Rosie's heart soared with each admission, every confession carving a new reality grounded in honesty. The whispers of the crowd faded into the background as colors spun around them, transforming into a vibrant tapestry of connection woven with threads of vulnerability and warmth. Just like the dance floor calling them back, the promise of relationships filled with love and understanding sparked within her. As Leah's expression shifted from confusion to understanding and then to acceptance, Rosie sensed the turning of a new page, a pivotal moment signaling the rebirth of their friendship, one threaded with compassion, honesty, and resilience. In that instant, Rosie finally felt the calmness of clarity settle within her. She was ready to navigate this renewed journey, welcoming whatever came next, both fears and joys, with an open heart. It was a beautiful leap into their new world, one where love held no boundaries, promising that within every step taken together, they would find healing in every transition, from friendship to something more profound. As laughter bloomed anew around them, Rosie's heart lightened. The past was sewn into the fabric of their lives, but warmth and connection would guide her into a future filled with hope. "Let us celebrate," Leah beamed, eyes sparkling with joy. And as Rosie joined the laughter, hand in hand with Jake and supported by the love of her lifelong friend, she felt invincible, a radiant tapestry of strength, honesty, and acceptance enfolding her. This was only the beginning. You need to subscribe now to catch all the incredible stories we have coming your way. This is the moment to show your support by leaving a like now. Don't wait not even one more second to dive into the comments with your reactions and feelings about this transformation. And share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful journey of love and friendship.